steaming past the white cliffs of Dover on Trafalgar Day of all days, the most powerful Russian naval task force to be assembled for years. It's aimed to impress people from Europe to the Middle East, and so far it's succeeding. Russia's media has made the most of the deployment, heralding its naval capability.
One of the main goals of this deployment is exactly that, to attract attention. Because actually that was the missing element in the Russian image as the great power equal to the United States. It is possible to fire cruise missiles, but if you do not deploy carriers, you are losing something.
The Russian task group was intercepted by the frigate HMS Richmond in the North Sea, and it monitored its progress through the Channel. On the way, Russian pilots from the Kuznetsov have been carrying out flying practice in preparation for their mission in Syria. The task group passed through the Channel today. Meanwhile, 2 Russian corvettes are heading north from the Bay of Biscay to meet the carrier, and they're being shadowed by the destroyer HMS Duncan. At 60,000 or so tons and 1,000 feet long, the Russian carrier is similar in size to those building for the Royal Navy, but it's old, having entered service 26 years ago. It has an impressive suite of weapons of its own, including 12 Granit cruise missiles that can be nuclear armed. And of course it's got aircraft, currently a dozen modern Sukhoi 33 fighters and 3 MiG-29s. But the ski jump design limits the effectiveness of this small air wing. It might not be particularly efficient to operate from that ship, but having the carrier out in the eastern Mediterranean, accompanied by escorts with powerful anti-aircraft missiles, sends a message of don't even think about it to the West and any plans for a Syria no-fly zone. That assumes, of course, that the task group actually gets there.
It's a message to the region of their power. It's a message to those who are negotiating with regards to ceasefire, that they have a strong hand and they're prepared to be authoritative in the way they engage in those ceasefire negotiations. And also it plays to their desire to preserve maritime might in the Mediterranean, which of course they treasured during the heights of the Cold War and are struggling to restore.
What might go wrong? Well, the Kuznetsov has a record of engine failure. In 2012 in the Bay of Biscay, it was floundering in heavy seas and had to be rescued by a tug. It's had engine failures in the Mediterranean too.
Deployment to the Mediterranean is a sort of curse for this carrier. Every time she comes there, it loses power. So maybe it will happen this time. It will be terribly humiliating for the Kremlin if that will happen again.
But if all goes to plan, the task group will soon be carrying out the Kremlin's orders off Syria, changing the Middle East calculus once again.